Welcome back to biology class. How are you all doing today? So the last class we had, we talked about the classes of food. All right. So we looked at the different classes of food, talked about carbohydrates, proteins, fat and oil, minerals, vitamin, water. We gave different examples. We treated different past questions on the topic. We talked about food tests, how we can test if food contains starch, if food has starch. All right, we talked about how we can test for protein, how we can test for fat and oil, how we can test for vitamin, for minerals, and we also talked about how we can test for sugar, non-reducing. Okay, and we treated past questions on the topic classes of food. Okay, so today we are going to the mammalian tooth. As you can see on the bird, the mammalian tooth, the mammalian tooth. All right. We are all familiar with the word teeth. We are familiar with the word teeth. I want to believe that you are familiar with the word teeth. You have teeth in your mouth. All right. It's the teeth in your mouth that you use to chew before digestion can occur. So if you don't have teeth in your mouth, how will you be able to eat? That's why babies don't feed on food, they feed on milk, they feed on something liquid, all right, because they don't have teeth in their mouth. So we all are familiar with the word teeth. Okay, so we want to look into the mammalian teeth. Okay, so and when we talk of mammalian teeth, it is not only restricted to human being. It is not only restricted to humans. So we are going to be looking, or let me say, we are going to be considering three um mammals, all right, under this topic according to UTME syllabus. All right, so we are going to be looking into the human teeth, the dog teeth, and the sheep teeth. Okay, so we'll be looking into these three mammals. We want to see their set of teeth. We want to compare and contrast the set of teeth of humans, dog, and sheep. All right, so you are going to enjoy this class. I want you to pay total attention to whatever is being said. All right, so if you can, you wherever you're watching me from, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. All right, thank you for doing that. And I promise you that you're going to enjoy this class and learn a lot. All right, so um, look, talking about the mammalian teeth, like I said earlier, this white set of things inside your mouth, they are your teeth. All right, so I'm going to be showing us the old diagram of my human's teeth. Okay, we are starting with human. We are starting with human. So we want to look at the different types of teeth. We want to look at what our teeth are composed of. We want to see the both the external and internal structure of our teeth. Okay, we want to see what this white set of things are composed of. Okay, so I'm going to be showing us a diagram now, diagram of a human teeth. Okay, so we are going to be using this diagram to explain everything that we need to know about the human's teeth. All right, so if you have any question at any point in time, you can drop it using the chat box and we will look into it and solve the questions together. All right. So as you can see here on the bird, we have the set of teeth here. You can see the set of teeth that we have here. This is the human set of teeth. All right. So when we talk of the human's teeth, you are familiar with this diagram. This is the set of teeth that you have as human. Okay. So we have the upper jaw and the lower jaw. As you can see on the bird, this is the upper jaw. This is the upper jaw. Here is the upper jaw, and this is upper jaw, and you have the lower jaw. Okay, this is the lower jaw. This is the lower jaw. All right. So as you can see, we have the upper jaw, we have the lower jaw. You are familiar with this diagram on the bird. This is the upper jaw here, and this is the lower jaw here. So what are as you can see, the set of teeth that you are looking at here, they are not the same. All right. If you look at their structure, you will see that they are not the same structure. They have different structure. So this brings us to the types of the mammalian teeth. But before we go to the type, I want you to know that we have the external structure. We have the external structure of teeth, and we have the internal structure. Before we go back to this, I want to show you I want to jot this down. All right. So we'll be looking at the external structure of teeth. We'll be looking at the external structure and the internal structure. The external structure and the internal structure. When we talk of external structure, is still your normal English word. When something is external, it means something outside, something you can see with your eyes. And when something is internal, it means something that is inside, something you may not be able to see outside. That is internal, inside, external, outside. So we are going to be looking at both the internal structure and the external structure of these three mammals' teeth. All right, so we go back to our diagram. We go back to our diagram. You can see the set of teeth that you are seeing is the external structure. Is the external structure. As you can see on the bird, here is the external structure, the teeth that you can see, outside, that we can see outside when you smile. All right, so those are the external structure. Those are the things you can see with your eyes. All right, so you should know that behind these things that you are seeing, behind this white set of teeth that you are seeing here, there are some things inside that is holding it down. All right, so those things are the internal structure. So we want to see the internal structure of this white set of teeth. All right, those things that are inside that makes it to function well, that makes the outer structure to function appropriately. So that is what we mean by the internal structure of teeth, or internal structure generally. All right, so we have the types of teeth, but before we go to the types of teeth, we want to start from the external structure of teeth. All right, the external structure of teeth, and those are the things that you can see here. All right, so I'm going to be presenting another structure, another diagram now. As you can see on the bird, this is your teeth here. All right, here is your teeth. This is the structure of your teeth. You can only see from here outside. This is what you see outside. This is what we see outside. All right, as you can see here, this is what we see outside. So this is the structure of your teeth. This is the external structure. That white part that you are seeing in your teeth, that white teeth is this. and that is the external structure, because that is what we can see outside. All right, so talking about the external structure of teeth, it is divided into three parts. All right, as you can see here, we have the crown. This is the crown. The crown is the one we see outside. The crown is the one you see outside. All right, so this is the crown. From here upward is the crown. All right, so it is the crown that shows when you smile. All right, so we have the neck. As you can see, the neck here, the neck, it holds the crown and the root together. So it is located at the gum line. All right, as you can look at this, like just as you can see on the bird, from here, as I said earlier, this is your crown. This is what we see outside when you smile. Okay, so look at your gum here. This is the gum. So this region here is your neck. The region here is your neck. The region here is your neck. All right, so and the root is the one down. You cannot see that outside. You cannot see that outside. Okay, so talking about the external structure, as you can see on the bird, is divided into three parts. We have the crown, we have the neck, and we have the root. Okay, so the crown is the one that is visible, that you can see outside. The neck is this gum region, the gum region, the gum region. As you can see here, the gum region, that is where the neck is, because it is the one that holds or joins the crown and the root together. All right, and the root is the part embedded in the jawbone. As you can see, the part here is known as the root, because it is the one, you can see this thing here, so it is the one that holds the teeth. It is the one that holds it down, that pins it down. All right, so that is the root part. That is the root part. So it holds the teeth in place. It holds the teeth in place. Okay, so that is the function of the root, as you can see. So the external structure of teeth is divided into three major parts. We have the crown, we have the neck, and we have the root. This is the external structure of teeth. External structure of teeth. All right, so we are through with the external structure. We have looked into what we can see outside, the external thing, what we see outside, what is visible to us. All right, so we are moving to the internal structure. We are moving into the internal structure. So the external structure is the one here, and the internal structure, they are the parts here. As you can see, you can't see all this outside. The enamel is what you can see outside. Okay, so this is the internal structure. All right, so the first one we are looking at is the enamel. As you can see on the bird here, that is the outermost layer made of calcium salt. It protects the teeth from wear and decay. So the enamel is what is up here. So as you can see, so the enamel holds the teeth. All right, so it is the outermost layer. The enamel is the outermost layer. All right, so we move to the next one, as you can see, which is dentin. We have the dentin here. So the function of the dentin is you can see it is below the enamel. So it is beneath the enamel, and it supports the teeth structure. It supports the teeth structure. All right, so just as you can see in the diagram, that it is beneath the enamel, so it supports the structure of the teeth. Okay, so we move to the pulp cavity. As you can see here, we have the pulp cavity. And the function of the pulp cavity is that is the inner chamber. You can see inner chamber. It is the inner chamber that contains the blood vessels. You can see the blood vessels here. These are the vessels. All right. So these are the blood vessels. So the pulp cavity has the blood vessels. All right, it has the blood vessels, and it nourishes the teeth and detects sensations. What do I mean by sensation? If you eat something that is very, very hot, you feel it in your teeth. So it is this pulp cavity that is responsible for that sensitivity in your teeth. All right, so it is the one that detects sensations, that is sensitive to whatever happens to your teeth. That is the function of the pulp cavity. Then the gums, even without explaining the gums, you already know the function that it holds down the teeth. All right, it helps to hold the teeth. It is inside here, inside the gum area, that we have the root. So it holds down the teeth and supports the structure. Okay, so the next one is the root canal. As you can see here, the root canal is below the pulp cavity. All right, so it's emanate from the pulp cavity. It emanates from the pulp cavity, and you can see the bone. You can see the cement, which is a bone-like layer covering the root. This is your root here. So this thing is covering the root. So it is the bone structure. It is a bone structure. All right, so it covers and protects the roots. It covers and protects the roots, and we have the nerve and blood vessels here supplying blood. All right, so this is about the internal structure of teeth. All right, so if you look at the bird very well, you see that we have both the external structure and the internal structure. This is the internal structure, and this is the external structure. The external structure has three parts, which is the crown, neck, and roots. And the internal structure has all of this, which I just explained earlier. All right, so if you can hear me and you are with me, please thumbs up. Let me know that you are with me. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ella. All right, so that is about the external structure and the internal structure of teeth. So we are moving straight to the types of mammalian teeth. We have talked about the external structure, what you can see outside, and the internal structure, what is holding the teeth, what makes it to function well. All right, so those are the internal structure, and we are done with that. All right, so we are moving straight to the types of mammalian teeth. Types of mammalian teeth. All right, so I'm going to wipe off the bird. So I hope you have the grasp of what is therein. Okay, so we are moving to the types of mammalian teeth. What are the types of mammalian teeth that we have? Thank you, Peter. What are the types of mammalian teeth that we have? All right. So I'm going to clear the bird for us to have space to write. Okay. So types of mammalian teeth. So as you can see, the diagram I showed you earlier, you see that the teeth are not the same. They don't have the same structure. They don't have the same structure. Okay. So we want to see the different types of teeth that we have. All right. So number one, we have the incisors. We have the incisor. We have the canine. We have the canine. We have the premolar. We have the premolar, and we have the molar. So we are starting with the human's structure, the human types of teeth. The human type of teeth. Okay, so that is what we are starting with. And like I showed you earlier, like I showed you earlier, that the structure of your teeth. All right, so we are going to be looking at how it looks like. You can see the diagram here. You can see how the central incisor, you can see the incisor, we have the incisor here. So this is the incisor for human's teeth. This is for human, don't forget. This is for human. Okay, so we have the incisor here. We have the molar here. We have the molar. This is the molar. All right. So you can see the premolar from the diagram. This is the premolar, and you have the canine. The canine is beside the incisor. The canine is beside the incisor. All right. So these four types of teeth, they have different functions. They have different functions. All right. So what is the function of the incisor? The incisor helps in cutting. It helps in cutting. Sorry. It helps in cutting and biting food. Cutting and biting food. That is the function of the incisor. That is the function of the incisor. It helps in cutting and biting food. You can see where the incisor is. If you want to cut anything, or you want to cut meat for, let's say, maybe your younger sister, or you want to cut something that is somehow, hard, you make use of this, your front set of teeth. All right, you make use of your front set of teeth, so use it to cut. All right, or you want to bite, use it to bite. If you want to bite someone, little children that bite, they make use of their front teeth. You cannot bite with your side teeth. Okay, so that is your incisor. So your incisor is it helps to, it helps for cutting and biting food. All right, so we move to canine. This is the canine here beside the incisor. As you can see on the diagram, it is beside the incisor. So that is it helps for tearing too, because it's beside the incisor. So it also helps, it also supports tearing of food. Okay, so it also supports tearing of food and helps in holding food. Okay, so the canine also helps in tearing. It also helps in tearing and holding food. Holding food. Okay. So we move to the premolar. Premolar is after the canine. Premolar is after the canine. As you can see, we have the first premolar, second premolar. So premolar is after the canine. All right. So and it helps for grinding and crushing food. So after you have cut your, probably your meat or whatever you want to cut, you chew. So it is the premolar that helps you to chew comfortably. So it helps to grind and crush food. It helps to grind and crush food. All right. Then we move to the molar, which is after the premolar. So you can see we have the scissor, we have the incisor, we have the canine, premolar, and molar. So molar is after the premolar. So that is for extensive grinding of food. Extensive grinding of food. So you want to chew, you want to grind, you want to crush. It is your molar that function in that aspect. All right, so it helps, or it supports the premolar to grind, to crush, to chew. So that is the function of your molar. You can see is at the, almost at the last edge of your teeth. So when you want to chew, when you want to grind, you want to eat, you chew with your side teeth. Okay, so you can see that side, you can see where it is located. It is located at that edge, that inside. So when you want to eat your, or you want to chew, you make use of your side teeth. So your molar and your premolar helps in doing that. So I believe you are getting this topic and you understand and you can relate well with the explanation. All right. So that is for human. All right. So like I said earlier, we will be considering the human, the sheep, and dog according to the UTME syllabus for this year. All right. So we are done. We just analyzed for human. We just analyzed that. Okay. So we have the incision, the canine, premolar, and molar, all the mammals. All right. So this is for human. You can see how it looks. It looks like normal set of teeth. You can relate well with that. All right. So we are going to the structure of sheep. We want to see how the sheep structure of teeth looks like. Or let's say, okay, let's move to dog. Let's see dogs. Let's see for dog the types of teeth in dog. Okay, so let's see for dog. So as you can see here on the bird, we have the dog types of teeth. Okay, so we also have the normal type. We have the incisor, canine, premolar, and molar. You can see the way it looks. That is for dog. And I'm going to show you how it looks in their mouth. How it looks in their mouth. Okay, so you can see and be more familiar with the dog teeth. Okay, see it here on the bird. We have dog teeth anatomy. We have dog teeth anatomy here. You can see. So you have we have the upper jaw, we have the lower jaw. We have the upper jaw, we have the lower jaw. Okay, so you see how the teeth looks like. Okay, so we are going to be looking at how these teeth work in dog. All right, so though it's still the same function, it's still the same function. Okay, so but you can see that the structures are different. Unlike humans own are like normal. You can see the difference. You can see how the canine looks like in dog. See how it looks like. Look at the incisor. This part is the incisor. This part is the canine. This part is the premolar. Here is the premolar. And this last two edge is the molar. All right, so it's still the same function. The incisor for cutting and biting food, the canine for tearing and holding food. You can see how this thing you know that dog is more or less like a carnivore. All right, so they tear flesh. That is why these teeth looks like this, because they make use of it. They use it to tear flesh. All right, so that is why the structure looks like this. So the canine, the two canine, they can use it to tear whatever they want to tear. So that is the function of um their teeth. That is how their teeth looks like, and the same function as that of human that I explained earlier. All right, so you have the upper jaw, we have the lower jaw, just as it is in human being. Okay, so I believe you are familiar with this set of teeth for dog. All right, so we are going to be looking at sheep next. Okay, so we are going to look at sheep's set of teeth, how their own set of teeth looks like. They also have the incisor, they have the canine, they have the premolar and molar. All right, as you can see on the bird, we have the incisor. This looks a little bit like that of human, but it is not the same. All right, unlike the dog own, where the canine are so pointed. All right, so for human being, for sheep, the canine are not pointed like that of dog. Okay, so as you can see, this is for sheep. This is for sheep. So the function of the types are also the same. The incisor for cutting and biting. You can see the incisor here. We have the canine beside the incisor. You have the premolar, you have the premolar, you have the molar. All right, so this is for sheep. Also the same function as that of human being. All right, so we are going to be looking at the dental formula. So I just explained the types of mammalian teeth. We have checked that for human, that for sheep, and that for dog. So we want to see the dental formula. What do we mean by dental formula? What do we mean by dental formula? This is what we want to check now. Okay, so we have different dental formula. We have different dental formula, and we are going to be looking at them one after the other. We are going to be looking at them one after the other. So we are through with the types of mammalian teeth, and I'm going to wipe off the birds now. I hope you all understand the explanations. Okay. So we are moving to the dental formula. The dental formula. Okay. So for all these mammals, there are different types of formula for their teeth. Okay, so the dental formula represents the number and types of teeth in half of the upper and lower jaws of an animal. Okay, I'm going to write it here. The dental formula, the dental formula of, the dental formula represents, it represents, it represents the number, represents the number and types of teeth in half of the upper, in half of the upper and lower jaws of an animal. Okay, so the dental formula represents the number and types of teeth in half of the upper and lower jaws of an animal. Okay, I'm going to show you this diagram again, that of sheep. I'm going to show you that of sheep again so you can understand what I mean by the dental formula. So you can see what I mean by the dental formula. All right. So looking at this diagram, you see that we have this, you can see the molar, molar, premolar, canine, incisor. This other part, there's nothing there. They did not label, it is not labeled. All right. This other part is not labeled. Why is it not labeled? Why is the other part not labeled? Because we have the same thing that is here is the same thing that is here. And the same thing that is here is the same thing that is here. So that is why only this side and only this side are labeled. Okay, so what we mean by dental formula, like I said earlier, represents the number and types of teeth, which means that we have all the types of teeth here. We have the molar, premolar, canine, and incisor. All the four types, they are complete on this side. All the four parts, they are complete on this side. That is what we mean by represent the number and types of teeth in half of the upper jaw. You can see half of the upper jaw here, from here to here, and half of the lower jaw from here to here. All right, so you can see half of the lower jaw, half of the upper jaw. So the dental formula represents the upper and lower, represents the number and types of teeth in half of the upper and lower jaw. All right, so if you have any question, you can ask using the chat box. All right, but I really want you to understand this dental formula. All right, I'm going to explain, like I'm going to go over it again. Okay, so the dental formula represents the number and types of teeth in half of the upper jaw and half of the lower jaw of an animal, which means that when we are writing the dental formula, we only consider what is here and what is here. Why? Because we don't want to do repetition. Since we have the same thing here, we have the same thing here, so we see no reason to repeat it. Okay, so that is why we just concentrate on half of the jaws, because we have the same set of teeth on both sides. Okay, so since we have the same set of teeth on both sides, we decided that, okay, let's just focus on the half part, because the same thing that is here is the same thing that is here. The same thing that is here is the same thing that is here. So we focus on the half part. That is what we mean by representing the number and types of teeth in half of the upper and lower jaw. All right, so I believe you understand and you are with me. Okay, so we move back to the bird. Okay, so talking about the dental formula now, for humans is different from that of sheep, and that of sheep is different from that of dog. All right, so we have different dental formula for each of the mammals. Okay, so for human we have for human we have 0/3. We have 0/3. Sorry, let me wipe off the board. I hope you have a grasp of what is there. I want to wipe it off now. Okay, so we can have space to write on the board. All right. Okay, so I'm going to be writing the formulas now on the board. So for human, or for man generally, don't forget we are omnivore. Also, yeah, we classify ourselves as omnivore because we feed on animals. We eat chicken, we eat different animals. Okay, so we have 2/2, we have 1/1, 2/2, and we have 3/3. All right, or instead, let's make use of a simpler method. Let's make it into table so that you can have a better understanding, all right, of what I am saying, and then so that you can be able to compare and contrast with other mammals that we discussed today, which is sheep and dog. okay, which is sheep and dog. So I'm going to draw a table now for us to be able to compare and contrast easily with other animals. All right. So we have animal, we have the incisor, we have the canine, okay, we have the premolar, we have the molar, we have the total teeth, okay, and we have their function or their, okay, let's say their function or how they adapt. All right. So as you can see on the bird, we have the premolar, we have the molar, we have the canine, we have the incisor, and then the animal. Okay. So starting from man or humans. Okay. So the incisor is 2/2. The canine is 1/1. The premolar is 2/2. The molar is 3/3. And the total set of teeth is 32. Okay. And the function, of course, for cutting, just like I explained earlier, the function of both the incisor, canine, premolar, and molar. That is what is here, the function that I just explained earlier. So how did we arrive at this formula? How did we arrive at this formula? I am going to explain that of humans so that then you can know how other formulas come by. All right, so for humans, how did we arrive at this formula? So this formula means that we have two incisors at the upper part. We have two incisors at the upper part. Let me show you the teeth again so that you can be able to relate with what I am saying. Okay, so I really want you to understand this topic, and that is why I'm trying my best to show you everything that I'm explaining. Don't forget, I explained the dental formula, that it represents the number and type of teeth in half of the upper and lower jaw. Don't forget, which means we are focusing on half of the parts. All right, that is how we arrive at the dental formula. So which means that we have two incisors, as you can see from the diagram. We have the central incisor, we have the lateral incisor. So we have two incisors here at the half of upper jaw, and the lower jaw we have two incisors. So which means that the dental formula for human, we have 2/2. That is how we come across 2/2 for incisor. All right, we have the same thing that is here, is the same thing that is here. That is why we focus on the half parts, because we have the same thing that is here, we have it here. So we focus here for the dental formula. So 2/2 means that you have two incisor at the upper part and you have two incisor at the lower part, as you can see on the diagram. All right, so the canine, we have 1/1 for canine. 1/1. Don't forget, this is humans set of teeth. Okay, so canine, we have 1/1. What do we mean by 1/1? From the diagram, from the labels, you can see that we have just one canine beside the incisor, and we also have one canine beside the incisor at the lower jaw. That is how we come across 1/1 for canine. And we move to the premolar. How many premolar do we have? According to the labelings, we have 1, 2. So we have 2/2. So for the upper jaw, we have 2. All right, we have 2 for the upper jaw. Okay, that is for premolar. All right. And for the down part, for the lower jaw, you also have 2. So which means that you have 2 over 2. Okay. So which means you have 2 over 2 for the premolar. All right. So, and for the molar, as you can see, you have 1, 2, and 3. So you have 3 over 3 for the molar. All right. So the dental formula for human being now, I hope you understand how we come across the formula now. So going back to our bird, so we have 2 over 2 for incisor, 1 over 1 for canine, 2 over 2 for premolar, and 3 over 3 for molar. All right. So if you calculate everything together, that is how we arrive at 32. Let me show you how we arrive at 32. Let me show you how we arrive at 32. Okay. So like I explained earlier, that we have, okay, so like I explained earlier, I want to explain how we arrive at 32 for human being now. Okay, so we have 2 2 here, which is at this side. We have 2 2 1 2 for incisor 2. Okay, for the down part we also have 2. Okay, for incisor. All right, so for canine we have 1. Okay, and also here we have 1 for canine. For premolar we have 2, and for for the down part we also have 2. Okay, and for molar we have 3, and for the down part we have 3 as well. Okay, so calculating it now, you have 2 plus 1, that's 3, plus 2, that's 5, and plus 3, that is 8. So this 8 here is the same thing that is on this part. So if you have 8 here, you have 8 here. You have 8 here, you have 8 here. So 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, that's 4 times 8, you arrive at 32. That is how we arrive at 32 for human teeth. Okay, so that is how you arrive at 32 for human teeth. So the same method I used to calculate the dental formula for human is the same thing you are using for the other mammals. All right, so I just want you to have the idea of how we arrive at these formulas. Okay, so we are done with man. So for sheep now, for sheep you have 0 over 3. What does 0 over 3 means? It means that there is no incisor at the upper part, but there are 3 incisors at the lower part. That is what this means. Okay, and for canine we have 0 over 1, which means that there is no canine at the upper part, but there is 1 canine at the lower part. And for premolar, we have 3 over 3, which means that there are 3 premolars at the upper jaw and there are 3 premolars at the lower jaw. And for the molar, we have 3 over 3 as well. So you have 3 molars at the upper jaw and you have 3 molars at the lower jaw. Everything sum up to 32. Okay, so the same method I used in arriving at this is the same method you will use to arrive at this, and you will get it and see that it is accurate. All right, so looking at the dog's dental formula, please take note of all these things. Take note of these things. Okay, just like I do say that we don't just come here to take any topic. We take topics based on the UTME syllabus released for this year. All right, so please take note of everything that is being explained here. All right, so for dog, we have 3/3 for incisor, which means you have 3 incisors at the upper jaw and you have 3 incisors at the lower jaw. And for canine, you have 1/1, which means you have one canine at the upper jaw and you have one canine at the lower jaw. And for premolar, you have 4/4, which means you have 4 premolars at the upper jaw, half upper jaw, and you have 4 premolars at the half lower jaw. Okay, and for molars, you have 2/3, which means you have 2 molars at the half upper jaw, and you have 3 molars at the half lower jaws. All right, so everything sums up to 42 in dog. So you have 42 teeth in dog. All right. So I believe you all understand this topic. So if you have any question that is bothering you, you can ask using the chat box. All right. You can ask using the chat box. And don't forget that sheep are herbivores. Okay, sheep are herbivores. So they don't have the sharp pointed canine because they are herbivores. They don't feed on flesh. All right. So this is the conclusion of today's class. All right. So today we talked about mammalian teeth. All right, looking at the external structure of mammalian teeth, looking at the external structure and the internal structure. Okay, so we talked about the types of mammalian teeth, which is the incisor, the canine, the premolar, and molar. And we looked into the different structure of those teeth in accordance to each mammal. All right, so we also moved to the dental formula where we defined the dental formula as representing the number and types of teeth in half of the upper and lower jaws of an animal. All right, so looking at the bird, you see the different dental formula for each of the mammal that we treated today. That is for man, for sheep, and for dog. All right. So for man, as you can see on the bird, you have 2/2 for incisor, you have 1/1 for canine, premolar is 2/2, molar is 3/3, and the total teeth is 32. So the question can just come as, you know, the question can just come as man. So to write the formula for man, you just say 2/2, 2/2, 1/1, 2/2, and 3/3. All right, so this is incisor, canine, this is incisor, canine, premolar, and molar. So this is how they write the formula. All right, so in case you see it in an exam or you see it in your UTME exam, it can come in any way. All right, so it can come in any way. If it's going to come like this is how the formula will be written out. They will just tell you, they can say you should pick the right formula for the mammals. It could be for sheep, it could be for dog. They'll just write it, it will come this way. All right, and ask you to pick the right dental formula for the particular mammal. All right, so this comes to the end of the class, and I'm going to, there's a question I'm going to, send now. All right, the question is just to see the way they set their questions. Why? Because this particular question is not um inclusive in the UTME syllabus for this year. All right, but it is under this topic, but then it is not a mammal. It is not for mammal. So, and I see no reason to, to start beating around the bush and not go straight to what UTME really wants candidates to know. So this question is just for you to have the idea of how their question comes. So I'm going to show you or send a question now so you can see how the question can come. Okay, so you can see how the question can come. All right. So, like I said earlier, if you have any question, please ask using the chat box. Ask using the chat box. So I'm going to wipe off the birds now. I hope we've taken grasp of what is there. You know what is on the bird, and I can wipe it off now. All right. For us to have space to write our question. So this question is 2020. This question is from 2020. Okay, 2020. So, but it's about rodents. Though we have not done rodents, we did not do rodent because it is not part of the syllabus for this year. All right. So, but then it's just for you to have an idea of how the question comes. All right. Of how the question comes. Okay, so I'm going to be pasting it on the board now. Okay, so here comes the question. I hope you can see it clearly. So this is the question. Rodents gnaw in food. Rodents gnaw in food. Rodents gnaw in food with their dash. A. Molar teeth. B. Strong teeth. C. Flourished teeth. And D. Chisel-like front teeth. Chisel-like front teeth. So what is your answer? This is just for you to, instead of the rodents, it could be dog bites with their. So that, like I said, this is just for you to have an idea of how questions come. All right. So looking at this question very well, rodents gnaw in food with their. What do they mean by gnaw in food? They catch their food with their what? What do you think the answer would be? What would they catch their food with? Even with the explanations that we had on the mammals. All right, so using the explanations and the let's say the understanding of the mammals, okay, so what will the rodents use to gnaw in food, to catch their food? Can you just make attempt this question, send it to the chat box so we can treat it together. So I want us to attempt this question together. All right, so rodents gnaw in food with their words. A. Molar teeth. B. Strong teeth. C. Flourished teeth. And D. Chisel-like front teeth. What would the answer be? So the answer is D. Chisel-like front teeth. Just like this looks like what I explained today, even though we did not mention rodents, but according to the explanations, what would they use to catch their food, to gnaw in their food? Of course, it is their front teeth. Okay, so it is their front teeth, and that is why the answer is their chisel-like front teeth, for them to be able to catch the food and gnaw in the food. All right, so I believe you understand this topic, and I want to implore you that you check the past questions. We have numerous past questions on our app, and you can go through the past questions, check some other questions under this topic and the topics that we have treated previously. Okay, so thank you for joining this class today. So we also have biology tomorrow, and it is advisable that you always join the class early. Join the class early. Like someone was asking me around that to six that what is the topic that we are treating when we started 5 o'clock. So I implore you that you always join the class promptly, okay, so that you don't get lost, so that you can benefit, so that you can understand the total package, so that you can understand everything that we need to that we need you to learn. All right, so thank you for joining the class. See you tomorrow. Bye.